Hi there. Let's take a look at another for loop situation. Okay, so what we've done is I have a list of favorite animals, and I just listed some random animals in here. And again, you can have as many or as little as you want, but this is just to demonstrate iterating through a list again. But I'm also going to use a count or a counter, and just to show you how we can combine iterating through a list with a count. So you can see we have this list. We also have a count, and I set it to equal to 0. So what I'm going to do now is create a for loop so that the printout labels the order of your favorite animals with the number. So let me explain. Just to start off, we always want to see to make sure our for loop works. So let's say for, and again, if you recall my variable, I tried to do it where it's a singular version of my list. So this is favorite animals. So I'm going to say for animal in favorite animals, colon. I'm just going to print animal to start off, just to make sure everything's running well, and let's do that. Okay, so there we go. We have our animals printed off. That's a good start. So now what we could do is let's flex our muscles a little bit in terms of our formatting. So we used the F string last time, and I'll use the F string again here just as a quick little demo. So we have, let's say F here, and I'm just going to put, I always forget my quotation marks. So I'm always trying to make sure I do my first and last. And then I can say, here are, this is my favorite animal, something like that. I'm just going to start this off with first, before we include the counts. This is my favorite animal. And you'll see how it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense because of the context, kind of similar to when we looked at the actor video, if you saw that one. So let me run this. The idea is you see all my printouts, and it's iterating through every single item in my list, and I get the cats, dogs, and so on. So what if we wanted to use, though, a count where we're going to say my number one, like my first, my second, my third, my fourth, and this is like the order of my favorite animals. Okay. Something like that. I can do something like above here. I can do a print. Here is a list of my favorite animals. In order, something like that. Okay, in like order of preference, something like that. And then what we can have in our loop, so that's outside the loop, so that's gonna be a one-time printout. And then within my loop, I can then just like, okay, well, let's now put our count values in. So with is like 1 being cats, 2 being dogs, and so on. Well, my count variable is set at 0. When I'm told it to be at 0, and I really, as a programmer, I can do whatever I want. I can change it so that it's not 0, it could be 1. But I'm actually going to use that, keep it as a 0, but I'm going to use programming, so line of code here, to now increase my value so that it starts at 1. If you recall my previous video, it really depends on where I increase my value for count when I print it off, which is important. So if I want my count to be number 1 for cats, it doesn't make sense to increase my value for count after I print that statement, because it'll be 0 cats. So let me show you. Actually, I'll just demonstrate that. So here, if I have my animal, let's say animal. I want to do count first. So the count variable is going to be called in. So it's going to be first count. Okay, and I can say even number 1. Let's put a number sign in front. It's going to look really slick. Okay, so count. The number, let's say 1 example, colon, and then the animal. So I'm now going to use my variable animal. Excellent. And now let's increase our value for count. And you're going to see why this is maybe not the ideal position to do this. And you're going to see it firsthand. So run for. Okay, I have 0 cats, dogs, so on. So you can see what I meant by 0 is not ideal. So again, yes, as the programmer, I can change 0 above here to be a 1. But what I'm going to do is instead just take this count and put it in front of my print. And now let's run it. And there we go. Number 1, number 2, number 3, and so on. Okay, so this is utilizing, again, iterating through a list, but bringing in something like a count where we can, again, have to define it outside the loop and then call it in the loop and do what we want with it. Okay, so again, I hope this helps really help you with doing your for loops for future programs.